Hey everyone, my name is Jonas Olson. Today I'm here with Danny Leibrandt. He is the owner of Pest Control SEO, which is a very successful marketing agency. And today we're going to talk about Google Ads targeting for pest control companies. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Danny.
Thank you so much for having me on, Jonas.
Yeah, how's it going, buddy?
Good.
So I have a few questions that I have pre-written out for this one, but I'm just going to look over here and I'm reading them off to you.
Yeah.
What audience characteristics should your pest control ads target?
Yeah, definitely. So the easiest.
Like we talked a lot about this already.
Yeah, no, we have, but still, we can cover it. Something really easy that we can identify, and obviously this is non-negotiable, is where we are geo-targeting. That we need to make sure that the ads are showing up in the right area. And you'd be surprised at how many people get this wrong. I've seen Google Ads campaigns of it might be, a white label agency setting them up, or it might be a virtual assistant setting them up. And I swear I've seen this pest control companies that are spending thousands and thousands of dollars on Google Ads, and they're running across the U.S. when they're only in one or two states
because they had the little button.
Yeah,
I've only done Google Ads a few times because I rely on people like yourself, but I just know there's a little button at the bottom that I missed. So God, I mean to cut you off, but yeah, I've seen the same thing. Like they set it up right away and like literally distribute it to everyone.
Yeah.
Not just in our little city.
Yeah. So that's a super easy thing to do. We need to make sure that we are targeting the right area. Really, if that's not being done, then nothing else matters. And again, I always like to make the analogy or the comparison to the website and the other things. Like on our website, we should also be geo-targeting. Like we should have dedicated pages talking about the areas that we're doing. So this is like the really interesting intersection between the website and Google Ads, that they're not the same thing, but it's organic versus paid, but they are very similar in that regard of like, again, on your website, you might have like a termite control page. A lot of companies, I've looked at so many different pest control websites, and they will have a termite control page, and they will have, a mosquito control page, and a general pest control page, and a spider control page, and an ant control page. And that's all great, but there's no geo-targeting. They're not talking about the city at all, and specifically like actually having a dedicated page for each city, and even the city combined with the service. So how can you expect to rank in that area? In the same way, how can you expect your Google Ads to show if you're targeting the whole US? And essentially, like if you try to sell to everyone, you're going to get no one because it's so competitive. And obviously, I mean, it's just, I don't even have to go in this much depth with Google Ads. It's pretty obvious that you are targeting people in a specific area. And then the other aspect of targeting is what actual keywords to use, which I'm not sure if we're going to get into this after, but I'll cover this briefly here. That there are 3 different kinds of keywords regarding your Google Ads. So there is exact match, there is phrase match, and there is broad match. So exact match means that you only want to show up for that exact keyword. Yeah. Then we have phrase match, which is you have that exact keyword, but it might show up slightly different in the search. So we're going to be targeting that area. And let's say we do, phrase match. In that, So if you have the phrase match of pest control, then you would show up in a search that is pest control near me, or how do I do pest control do it yourself. So that one can be a little bit risky. Pest control near me would probably be a safer one there. And then the other one we have is broad match. So usually I advise against this, at least initially, because broad match is Google kind of just interpreting what the search will be. And this is kind of like how search is evolving in real time, that it will be more broad match-esque, and it will be more things like AI Max, because the searches are becoming more and more complex. People are used to doing a Google search, trying to keep it as concise as possible, just like, okay, here's what I want to see, just like here's 3-4 words. But now what it's becoming, as more and more people are using ChatGPT, and AI mode is kind of taking over Google search. That's, the head of search at Google is saying that AI mode is the future, which is essentially almost like a hybrid between Google search and something like ChatGPT. People are doing much longer searches on these platforms. So broad match does come into play there where, there are some of these keywords, like you just can't account for every single keyword. And there are some of these phrases, like someone might say like 10 sentences about what they want in a pest control company. So like, how are you going to exact match or phrase match that? It's going to be a lot tougher. So it does come into play in that sense, but those are also the three kind of keywords that we need to be aware of, the three types of keywords of what we're targeting.
Hey guys, real quick, if you guys are really looking to grow your pest control company, check out what we do at pestcontrolmillionaires.com. Awesome. How should you adjust for targeting seasonality?
Yeah, seasonality is a good one. So we always want to, so we have our base campaigns, like we've already talked about, of different pests and such. And we have also the ad sets within the different cities. Now, the smaller cities and the smaller ad sets, we probably don't have to go into each one just because it can kind of get tedious if we have like 20 campaigns set up. But for, I'd say at least like our top, 5 to 10 campaigns, it would make sense to run a dedicated ad or maybe even ads targeting that particular season, talking about, okay, hey, we have a discount in fall, or, make sure to watch out for these kinds of pests in winter. So it's not a huge deal, but that's definitely a good add-on that we can have, is targeting seasonality. And we can even edit our existing ads and just put that extra headline in there.
That's awesome. Are there demographic targeting options worthwhile for pest control companies?
They are, but again, Google's getting so smart that it doesn't even really matter anymore. Right. So more and more they are taking over, the different aspects of marketing. The same way with Facebook, they're making Facebook advertising way easier. So like this is going to be less of a concern in the future, because Google is just going to get so smart that, and really is already so smart, that they already know how to target. And also a big part of this, which is worth mentioning just as a whole regarding Google Ads, is that Google Ads in particular are trained on your data the same way with Facebook ads. So there's going to be a ramp up period of the first like month to 2 months to 3 months where Google just understands what you are advertising for, about your company, how people are interacting with your ads, how people are interacting with your pages. So that also plays into it, that like we don't have to worry so much about demographics, because Google is going to train its data and naturally figure out who the best customers are for your company. So we don't have to like worry about that too much. Google is already kind of going to take care of that over a long enough time, because they're optimizing to make you money so you keep spending money on their platform.
Yeah, that's great. How do keywords, demographics, and geographies interact for optimal targeting?
Yeah, definitely.
That's a tongue twister.
That is a tongue twister. So yeah, the demographics between the people versus where they're actually at. I mean, like I said before, the geographics is the most important. If we're not targeting the right area,
radius, or is that by zip code? How does it work in there?
Yeah, that's generally by zip code, okay. Or if you want to choose by city, kind of the same as local service ads are. But I guess maybe the question here is like, how do those two interact with each other? Right. So you have the people that are in that city, and then you have the keywords that you're using for that city, and you're targeting those people. And where this plays in, and like I was saying earlier, that Google will test, and what you should do when you're setting up your ads and such is that you have different headlines and different descriptions for each of your ads. So you might make 10 headlines and 10 descriptions, whatever you'd like to do. You can do as little as 2 on each, or you can do almost as many as you'd want. And then Google will naturally, like I said, Google's taking over more and more of the process. So Google will naturally test and figure out what's best. So it's not even like you have to fully understand it, but you just have to create, a good solid section of ads, which really you could even like use ChatGPT, or Google actually even has, like you can generate ads within their platform too. So they make it super easy. So you don't have to worry too much about that.
Awesome. Last question. Which negative keywords are most important for pest control companies?
That's a good question. So one of the top ones we want to mention, I would say, might be other company names, because we don't want to show up for other companies. That's one that we probably don't want to show up for. But there's actually not too many negative keywords that we need to set up. Again, Google's getting smarter. So there's less and less things that we need to do. Back in the day when 10, 20 years ago, when Google was just running Google Ads, you had to set up everything manually. And it was honestly the platform was stupid. Like you had to train it, you had to give it all the exact information, but now it is trained much higher. So we don't even worry too much about negative keywords.
Awesome. Great information. That's the last question I had regarding that topic. So thanks for being here, Danny. I appreciate your help.
Thanks, Jonas.
See you.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I know that we really appreciate you guys taking the time with us here. If you guys have any questions, comments, make sure to throw them in the comment section below. And if you found this valuable, make sure to like and subscribe and to share with your friends who maybe own a service business themselves. Again, our goal here is to provide as much value to you guys as possible. Also, if you guys are really looking to grow your business, make sure to check out our website at pestcontrolmillionaires.com. We'll have the link below in the bio, and we'll also have a free school group for you guys to check out. So thanks for watching.